Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to give it a minute while people continue to join. It just turned 11, so we'll make sure everyone can enter the room before Matt and I get started. Great. Okay, I'm sure people will continue to trickle in. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Kate Navarro. I'm the Director of Admissions for our Management Master's programs. And today I'm joined by my colleague, Matt. Matt, feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name's Matthew Lassance. I'm the Assistant Director for Admissions with the Management Master's programs. Excited to be here sharing a little bit more about our GBS or Global Business and Society program.
Great. And yes, thank you, Matt. That's exactly what we're here to do today is tell you more about our one-year degree program at the Yale School of Management, our Master's in Global Business and Society program. The GBS program is a one-year degree program designed for current students, graduates of Master in Management programs to come to Yale School of Management, take advantage of our resources here at Yale, really dive into our electives, customize your curriculum. And that's what Matt and I are going to tell you more about today. We're going to talk about what the program is, the curriculum, what our student body is like, the application process, and hopefully by the end, you'll be interested in applying to us and maybe coming to join us at Yale SOM. I'd like to quickly give a shout out to our colleague, Elena Heath, who's on the back end helping us with this webinar and making it happen. Please feel free to use the Q&A feature for your questions. You can type those in at any point, and we'll get to those at the end. Matt and I will make sure to have some time. And Elena is also going to post our brochure in our chat at some point during this session. So feel free to download that to look into some more information. With that, let's get started. I'd love to tell you more about the GBS program. So what is the GBS program? The GBS program is, as I mentioned, a one-year degree program that's customized by you. So I think uniqueness of this program is that you get to do whatever you want with it and that you get to choose courses that you want to take. Sometimes students will have a master in management program where everything's chosen for them, which is completely fine, but they didn't get a chance to really explore, do new things, learn about some subjects. And so you can come to Yale and do that for a year. It's a really nice complement to your MEM. The GBS program also offers you the opportunity to join a community of purpose. We are a mission-driven institution. I'll tell you a little bit about our mission in a few slides. And our students are here to make the world a better place. As corny as that sounds, that is what we're teaching, right? We're teaching our students to really make a difference in our society. As a GBS student, you'll get to join clubs, events, speaker series, all the great things that any SOM, any Yale student gets to do. And then lastly, joining the Yale University Network, which is a powerful network all around the world, as is your MIM school. And so being able to have two networks to draw upon in your future as you build your future global career. So why pursue the GBS program? And I think I touched on this just a little bit on the last slide, but it's really about building off what you've learned in your Master in Management program and taking those learnings to a global level. And so, the uniqueness of our program as well is having such a diverse cohort. And so being able to learn from students from all over the world in one location, in your classroom, in your school, is really a great way to elevate those learnings that you've already had. We like to say there are two kind of ways to take on the GBS program. One is really going deep, right? Is diving in and exploring a specific topic, really becoming an expert in that area. Maybe you know that you want to go into healthcare management in the future. Maybe you know you want a job in fintech, and the list goes on. Right here are just some subjects that you could dive deep into. You could take all of your elective courses in that particular topic, become a specialist in that area, and then find a job in that area. And so it really gives you that opportunity to dive deep into a topic. Or the other side, you can really explore a lot of new interests and ideas and have that breadth, that wide variety of classes to take. You could take an art class, a music class. Maybe you love the theater and you've never had a chance to act, but you really want to. This is the time to do it. Really take advantage of the many professional schools we have here at Yale. I guess the third not talked about option is both. You can do both. That is what your year is made up of, is what you want it to be. So let's talk about some of the advantages of your MIM plus the GBS program. Here you'll see some schools listed. A lot of these are our global network schools that we already have that we have partnerships with or concurrent degrees with that you can go and combined with Yale and essentially do your program in less time, gaining the power of two. What does that mean? It means having 2 degrees, 2 different brands, 2 different countries, 2 different networks in 2 years. That sets you apart from many different people in this world, right? Being able to draw upon that power of two because of this unique opportunity, the MIM plus the GBS program. If you don't see your university listed up there, don't worry. These are just some universities we like to highlight because we have some of these concurrent degree partnerships. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that your degree program doesn't offer you that power of two either. I had mentioned earlier that we are a mission driven institution. And what that means is our mission matters. You'll see it everywhere in everything we do. And quite honestly, it's in our title of the MMS GBS program, Global Business and Society. And what our mission is doing is educating leaders for, as I said, business and society, aiming to develop these leaders to give them the ability to think more broadly about problems that people are facing, business leaders are facing these days, and who it impacts, the different industries, the different sectors it impacts. As a student, that means you're going to be in a place in a classroom where you can connect with people who are doing amazing work across all disciplines and learning how to apply these things in your future work. Throughout our program, we'll continue to talk more about the mission, what that means through how we lead, and again, how we also follow at times, and how we make decisions and how it impacts people. So, who is Yale SOM? What does our student body look like? I think this is an important slide because as a GBS student, you're not just taking classes with GBS students, you are taking your elective classes with the rest of the school as well. So, who are your classmates? Who are your future friends? We have many different degree programs. We have our traditional MBA program, just 2-year MBA program. It brings in about 350 students every year. So at any point, we'll have, about 700 MBA students on campus. You're taking electives with these students. It's a great opportunity to network with them as well. We have our MBA for Executives program. Our MBA for Executives program has three specializations, one in asset management, one in sustainability, and one in healthcare. This program brings in about 75 students every year, and these are working professionals. So they're here every other weekend and then working when they're not at school. Another great opportunity to network, right? To find your future business partner. If you're interested in asset management, healthcare, sustainability, connect with these classmates. They're a great resource because they're currently working. And so they might, give you ideas at finding a job or working on an entrepreneurial project or being a mentor. Lots of different options. We have our Master of Advanced Management program. Matt and I also work in admissions for that program. This is also a 1-year degree program designed for MBA graduates who come to SOM and take advantage of the electives as well for 1 year. That brings in about 50 students every year. We then have many Master in Management studies, the GBS program being one of them, but we also have our MMS in Asset Management, Systemic Risk, Technology Management, and Public Education Management. They're all very specialized masters, and I think their names kind of tell you what the specialization is. But those cohorts are a little bit on the smaller side, probably around the MAM size, anywhere from 50 all the way up to 80. And again, they'll be students you'll be taking courses with. And then lastly, we do have some PhD students on campus. They might be TAing your courses. They might be a great resource for you in a research area, but those students are also on campus. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Matt, who's going to tell you all about the curriculum, what it means to customize, select your courses, and then I'll be back to talk more about the application process. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Kate. So let's talk a little bit about the curriculum and its flexibility and all that. So we have one required course, and that is Business and Government After Communism. So all GBS students will take that course during their time. From there, you're going to have 16 units of advanced management courses, and you can see the list of courses up there in the upper right section. I know game theory is a big one, policy modeling, future of global finance, some big ones that a lot of our students tend to like to take, but it gives you flexibility in some of those areas that you may be interested in. That makes up about half your curriculum. And then the other half is elective courses that you get to select from across Yale University. So we have 170 plus elective courses that we offered this past year. I assume it'll be about the same amount this upcoming year, but you have the opportunity to select from those courses. Maybe you're thinking about something to do with sustainability. You can take classes at School of the Environment. Maybe you want to get into politics and policy, and you're thinking Jackson School for Global Affairs, or maybe a course at the law school. You have the opportunity as well to take courses at Yale's 12 other professional schools and the Graduate School of Arts and Sciences. This is definitely an area that we like to highlight and I think is really important because this is the part of the curriculum that truly is customized by you. And I think it's something that every student should really take advantage of. Um, as you're going through this, I think Kate had mentioned it. Find at least one course that is for you. Find a course that is something that you've wanted to learn, or maybe it's something that you're passionate about, and maybe you can dive into it here at Yale a little bit further. Definitely make sure you take advantage of that. And this is an important section as well. If you go to our website, and I believe it's the second drop-down menu, curriculum, and then I believe you can click another curriculum button or course list. Click that. You're going to find not only this list of courses, but you're going to be able to go through and see all of the electives offered at Yale SOM and across Yale University. Take a look at some of the different offerings and really think about it, especially as you look to put together your application. If you're able to kind of give us some of those, hey, what courses are you interested in, and kind of share some of those things with us, we can really see how this program is going to help you and what opportunities there may be for you here. So definitely take advantage of that. One of the other things that we want to highlight is the STEM major or the management science major. Now, this is not for everyone. This is sort of something that if you're thinking about getting into the STEM field or a STEM career, this may be something that you want to take into account or consider. So, what you would do is you still have your 16 units of advanced management courses, your business after communism or government business after communism course, and then you also have 16 units of management science or STEM related courses, which you have 26 options. There are just a few of our popular ones listed right there for you to kind of take a look at. And then you still have 2 units of elective courses across Yale. One thing I do want to note, you can take other elective courses as well during your time. So you would definitely need to take your 2 units of required courses, 16 units of advanced management, and 16 units of STEM, but you can take a few other courses as well. So I think if I'm not mistaken, the number adds up to 32. So that comes out to I think 36 right there. But you can take, 40 units of credits if you'd like to, or even a little bit more. Keep in mind you need some time for yourself and you need to have that time built in to, study and do your homework and whatnot. But this is definitely a great opportunity for those pursuing a STEM career. Why is this great? Normally, with your degree, you would be eligible for 1 year of OPT or optional practical training to work in the US. This is sort of the first step and could lead to potentially the qualification for a 2 year STEM extension, allowing you to potentially work in the US for 3 years on that OPT. What I do want to mention with this again, it is not guaranteed. It is something that you need to be in a STEM designated career in order for it to apply. And so that's something to really keep in mind. The other thing I would say is make sure you're not doing this program with the sole intention of working in the US. We understand that students, are coming from around the world. They may want to work in the US, and there are opportunities there, but do not do this program with the sole thought or intention of I'm going to do this and then get a job in the US and be able to work there for at least 3 years because we cannot guarantee that. One thing that I always like to tell people, look at it as sort of a funnel or a cone. You can have that I want to work in the US, I want to work New York City consulting, whatever it may be. But then, as you kind of, okay, that's great. A lot of people want that. maybe think about, hey, I want to work in the Northeast in consulting. Maybe I want to work on the East Coast, maybe the US in consulting or North America. Make sure that you have that funnel so that, hey, if New York doesn't work out, you have other opportunities. It's something, our career development office has talked with us about and kind of shared some things, which I can dive into a little bit further. But it's something that we always like to make clear for students is that there are opportunities, but you need to be open to the opportunities that are available. So, what does your schedule look like as a student? Obviously, classes are the big thing, and you're going to see there in blue a number of different courses. Courses may be 1 hour long, and usually you'll have those courses twice a week, or courses could be 3 hours long. So, you'll see global leadership down there or competitive strategy. And those courses you'll meet once a week, but it'll be for about 3 hours. So, different opportunities there. One thing you might notice is there are no courses on Friday. Why is that? Our career development office likes to focus on career related things on Fridays. So, you're going to see, telling my story workshop. They host a ton of workshops throughout the year to help students not just work on your resume, applications, cover letters, all of those things, but also how do I tell my story? How do I explain what I've done, what this experience at Yale has helped me gain, and why I want to work in this career? They also hold one-on-one sessions or group meeting sessions. So maybe you meet with a career development officer on Wednesday in the afternoon, and then maybe Friday afternoon you're interviewing. They host a ton of different events, whether they be networking events or practice interviews, or even, they might have recruiters come to campus and set up and kind of interview a number of students throughout the day. Definitely things to keep an eye on, but make sure that, you are here for the academics. Make sure your academics don't suffer because you're focusing solely on the career. Um, with that, you're going to have meetings. You might be meeting with your professor to go over a test or prepare for something. We love putting students into groups. So maybe you have a group meeting for one of your classes and you're preparing a presentation. And then, of course, something that we'll talk about is clubs. A lot of different club opportunities across Yale. So maybe you have a club meeting Wednesday afternoon. And then, of course, don't forget your personal time. This is again why I say, you can take a couple extra courses. Don't go too crazy with it. You still need time to relax, recover. I know our GBS students, they definitely became very close, especially since a lot of our students know each other already coming in, or have met each other coming in. So they had a GBS dinner oftentimes on Monday nights. They might go see a play or go to a sports game on Thursday, let's say. Lunch, obviously, you got to make sure that you're fueled up and ready to go for the afternoon of events. But in this case, this person took the morning to do yoga and kind of prepare their mind as well as their body for the day. So this is just a bit of an example. This is one person's schedule. Yours may look different from it, but just to give you an idea of what a day in the life of a student might look like. So our academic calendar, just to kind of give you what the year looks like. So we have mandatory orientation, which starts on August 11th this year, and students will arrive, get their IDs, we take photos. It's a ton of fun. It's a 2 week orientation to kick things off. And then classes begin on August 27th. With that, we have our sort of October break and Global Network Week, which I'll talk about in a minute, as well as then our November recess over Thanksgiving. We have a big Friendsgiving event, though. If you're still around campus, definitely something to check out. And then in December, we have our winter recess, and that kind of gives you a nice month-long break. A lot of students will go home and hang out with family, friends. Then you come back, classes kick off on January 12th this upcoming year. And that kicks off our spring term. March, we have our Global Network Week and spring recess. And then commencement comes up very quickly on May 18th. So we say 1 year program. I would say it's a little bit more like 9 months. It goes by very quickly, a lot to take advantage of in that time. So definitely something to really think about and use your time wisely while you're here visiting, or while you're here sort of visiting Yale and New Haven. Now, we don't have our students on campus just yet. We are about, I think, 2 weeks, 3 weeks out from getting to meet them in person. So we're very excited about that. But to give you an idea of what our cohort looks like, this past year's class of 2025 was made up of 73 graduates from MIM schools all across the world. They actually represented 11 different MIM schools, which I think is really, really cool. And just to give you an idea, our students came in with an average of about 14 months of work experience, and we're about 24 years old. And that number fluctuates. If you have less work experience or a little bit more work experience, you're a little younger, maybe a year or two older, that's totally okay. That's something that we understand. There's going to be that flexibility. We do have a minimum, work experience requirement to keep in mind. But that number right there, the 14 months, is about the average. One of the really cool things, 55% women, so we've got about a 50-50 class, which is really exciting. It's always great to see how many women we have joining us here at Yale. And then I love this one. I think it's really cool to kind of see 99% of our students are international passport holders. And I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of places they've traveled to and experienced. And then I always think it's cool, 24 countries of citizenship. So really, one in every three students has citizenship somewhere else in the world, which I think is just a really, really cool thing to be able to talk about and share. And it just shows how global this cohort is. We're talking about community. That is very central to us and very important to Yale. So, to touch on a couple different community events, community engagement opportunities, our speaker series. We've had everyone from Janet Yellen, who is Secretary of the Treasury, to Stella McCartney, who's a fashion designer. We've had the president of Ghana actually came and spoke. We recently had Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy, if any of you are movie fans. Really amazing to see the different speakers that Yale is able to bring to campus and engage with students. It's really cool to get to hear from people that are in the industries, making a difference, making an impact in the world in some way. And I think one important thing that Yale really does is they try to be at the forefront of conversations. I've noticed in the last year or so, especially, there's a lot of things happening, and Yale tries to bring in people that can have discussions and really share their insights into what's going on around the world and how can we, make positive contributions and work towards, a more peaceful and prosperous society across the board, which I think is really great. Some of the other things, a lot of Yale sporting events and activities going on. The Yale Harvard football game is obviously, I would say, the biggest one of the oldest rivalries in college sports. And I think if you look back, we had a blog post not too long ago from one of our students actually about the Yale Harvard football game and their experience there, and just a really amazing experience. Of course, SOM events, we have Fempire, we've had the Innovation Summit recently, a lot of different SOM events as well as conferences. You see the Philanthropy Conference, the AI and Sustainability Conferences happened recently. There are a ton of different events and conferences that happen almost weekly. It's kind of crazy how fast they're able to turn things over and set up for the next one. But a lot of different things going on, not just at SOM, but across Yale to take a look at. The talent show, of course, I think is always a big one. It's fun to see some of your other students as well as some of the professors and staff show off their talents. I did mention Friendsgiving. That's another fun event and something that kind of brings the community together, like the talent show. Right around Thanksgiving time, they'll set up and invite students, faculty, staff, everybody to kind of come together for a meal and just spend some time, outside the classroom, getting to know each other and enjoying a meal. And then, as I mentioned, the club fair earlier, I think that's one of the biggest ones. It's very early on. What I always try to tell people is don't overwhelm yourself with clubs, but find at least at a minimum one personal club and one professional club. Find a club that is going to be for you to have some fun, get out, meet people, and then find a club that's really going to help with your professional aspirations and help you grow in that way. And I think if you do that, you're going to set yourself up for a lot of success in the program. And then as we're kind of talking about things going on across campus, a lot of places across campus as well to check out. So one of my favorites, the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, over 1.5 million different, I'm just going to say artifacts, but books, manuscripts, documents. It's unbelievable. I don't know how they acquired some of the stuff, but it's crazy some of the items that they somehow hold that I thought would have been lost in history. The Yale Art Gallery is an unbelievable place. I just found out this year actually through one of our admitted students. He told me that Yale apparently has the largest coin collection of any university in the world, which I thought was really, really cool. Definitely something that I'm looking forward to checking out. The Yale Farm, really cool spot to kind of visit, see the working farm that Yale has on campus, which is just unbelievable. Not sure how many schools have that. And then Sterling Memorial Library, which is actually the building in the background of the Yale courtyard photo there. Very, very cool to check that library out. Definitely very historic. And then, of course, the courtyard being, in the fall and spring, it's beautiful. You're going to see tons of students out there. And one thing I'd highlight with this, you're going to see, kind of libraries across all of this. A lot of our GBS students this past year found that it was kind of fun to get together and they would kind of go to a different library every month or every couple of weeks and had the opportunity to check out the law school library, the divinity school library. And they found that as a really fun way to study, kind of get out, see different places across campus, but also different environments for studying and just really, have that opportunity. So it's definitely something I would say check out all the different libraries and all the different spots across Yale's campus if you have the opportunity. And then, of course, as I kind of mentioned, the careers. I know this is one of the biggest pieces that everyone's wondering about. So, as I mentioned, they host a ton of different workshops. Obviously, they're going to work with you on your resume, cover letters, mock interviewing, and such, but really helping you craft and tell your story. What have you done? What are you looking to do? How did Yale help you? Talking about your experiences. They really are going to work with you in depth and one of the great things too that I like to highlight is they don't treat you differently than an MBA student or an MAM student or someone else. All of us are Yale SOM students, or all of you will be Yale SOM students. And so they're going to work with you to set you up for the most success upon graduation. Also, as noted, they're going to try to be put together on-campus recruiting opportunities, whether that be networking events or bringing recruiters to campus. So a lot of different things go into that. They have their employment database, designated career support. Definitely take advantage of the career support, especially. That's something they've noted to us is like, students either don't know or don't take advantage of the one-on-one opportunities. And it's something that they really should as they're looking to kind of dive into this. These are the people that are talking to a lot of recruiters, so they really can kind of help set you up for success. With that, our students go on to global careers around the world. Some of the big industries the past few years have been technology, government consulting, finance, and as mentioned, they've ended up in North America, South America, Asia, Africa, Europe, all across in big companies, McKinsey, BCG, Google, Microsoft, Amazon. And one of the other really neat things is the past few years, we've had quite a few that are interested in entrepreneurship, which doesn't always show. I don't know if there's an easy way to showcase that, but it's something that we found a lot of students really getting interested in and diving into, their own venture and kind of going around the world and working on that. So we have students all across the world doing some incredible things, and just to kind of show a little bit of that here is nice. And with that, I'll pass it back on over to Kate.
Great. Thanks, Matt. And thanks for telling us about all the exciting things that we have at Yale. And there's so many more that we just don't have time to get through. But hopefully you write us and we can tell you more about those. So let's talk a little bit about the different application pathways and when is the right time for you to apply. I love this slide because it is a great breakdown of you being able to kind of pick a bucket, right? Where are you? in your application process to your MIM? Where are you in your application process to the GBS program? Let's talk about the two different pathways to get to Yale SOM and the GBS program. So, say right now you're thinking of applying to a MIM, whether you're in your junior, senior year of undergraduate studies, college, whether you're graduated already and you're thinking about a master's in management program, you do have the opportunity of applying earlier to the GBS program. So essentially filling out a Yale GBS application while you're applying to your MIM. The advantage of this is knowing in advance that you're coming to the Yale GBS program in year 2. We have these partnerships right now with 3 different schools that you'll see up on the board or up on the screen. If you're thinking of applying to one of these MIM programs, you have the opportunity to take advantage of this early admissions, right? Applying simultaneously at the same time with this school and with Yale to plan out your 2 years, 1 year at your year 1 school and then year 2 at Yale SOM. If you're not in this boat early on, that's okay, right? There's another pathway for you to come to the Yale GBS program. One other thing I'll quickly mention is we are working on some new partnerships right now in this kind of early admission stage. And so those will come to fruition probably over the next couple months to a year. So pay attention on our website as we continue to create these partnerships. But say you are currently enrolled in a MIM, you just got admitted to a MIM, you're about to start a MIM, or you've already graduated from a MIM. Well, you would just apply to the GBS program by filling out our GBS application while you're in your MIM. So say most programs are starting in August, September. Our application is going to launch September 16th. You can start an application as soon as our application launches. And again, prepare in advance for what your second year will look like. Both pathways lead to the Yale GBS program. If you're not sure, which bucket you kind of are in, which application you should fill out, when you should fill out your application, just write to us, gbs@yale.edu. We would be more than happy to talk about your individualized situation and when you should apply. But I would like to highlight that we do have 2 admissions pathways, kind of early admission and I guess standard admission. So let's talk about the application itself. If you're looking to apply to a MIM, or if you just applied to a MIM, you should have all these application materials pretty much at your fingertips or ready to go. The application for the GBS program is online. You're going to submit the transcripts that you have available. If you're applying early, you might not have all of your undergraduate transcript grades yet. That's okay. Just give us what you have so far. If you're currently enrolled in your MIM, you're about to start your MIM, you don't have grades yet, just provide us with a transcript of the classes that you're taking, right? We just want to see what you have available at that time. We'll ask for a 1-page resume or CV. We also do require a standardized test score. We require either a GMAT or GRE test score. We will not accept any other test scores. There's no way to waive this. So if you don't have a GMAT or a GRE test just yet, there's still plenty of time to take it. And we will accept old scores, new scores, whatever it may be, but there has to be a test score. There's going to be 2 letters of recommendation you're going to submit. One is going to come from a professional source. If you're applying to a MIM right now and you'd like to use the same professional recommender, let them know that they're going to need to submit their recommendation to your MIM school and then to Yale as well ahead of time. I think it's always good to just communicate that with your recommenders. But that is from a professional source. The second recommendation letter is going to come from the dean or director of your MIM program. This does not apply to someone who hasn't started their MIM program just yet, but essentially we want to know if you're in your MIM, if you've graduated from your MIM, that you were a good classmate and that you successfully graduated. We'll have some essay questions in there. Those are not there to stump you. They're there for us to get to know you better. And so we hope you enjoy writing your essays. They're not super long, anywhere from, I think, 200 to 300 words. So not too much. We do have video questions. These video questions are a great way for us to see you. I think there's one side of reading someone on paper, and then us being able to see you on screen, come to life, answer some questions is the funnest part of the application for us. I think it's also the most nerve-wracking for an applicant because you will have 3 questions. You'll have a couple seconds to think of a response, and then you'll be recorded with your response. Um, None of these questions are meant to stump you. It's really to see how you think on your feet. If you can choose a side, if you can make a statement real quickly, or maybe you sit there and you say, I'm really not sure how to answer this. But again, it's another fun way for us to see you on camera. There is a $95 application fee, and then we will be inviting students to interviews by invitation over Zoom. On the very bottom, you can kind of see a nice pathway as to what happens throughout the application process. So when can you apply? I mentioned our application is opening September 16th, and then we have 4 application deadlines this year. This is something new. We typically only do 3 rounds. This year we're doing 4, and we're introducing an earlier round in December. The first round is going to be reserved for Global Network for Advanced Management students. So if you are starting at a Global Network school, or if you're graduated from Global Network school, you can apply in round 1. If you're not at a global network school, you can still start your application in round 1. That's okay. But the round 2, round 3, and round 4 are for anyone to apply in. I do want to mention we forgot to put a 2 in front of the 3 for February 23rd deadline, but that's okay because our deadlines are listed on our website, and that's where you should go to find our deadlines, when you can expect to receive a decision, and then when you have to actually decide. But we want to see your application not in round 1, round 2. We want to see it when it's the best display of you. And so pick the round that works the best for you, for what's going on in your life, when you can really commit yourself to this application. There's no there's no placeholder for each round. So there's no quota on seats. There's spots available in all 4 rounds. So the burning question I think that many students have is, how am I going to afford the GBS program on top of a MIM? And it's a great question. We do offer international student loans. That is not always an option for everyone, but it's a great way to fund your program if you don't have loans elsewhere, or if you don't necessarily have other scholarships. That information is given on our website and our admitted student website as well on how to apply for those international student loans. We do offer scholarships. We offer merit scholarships for the GBS program. All admitted candidates are automatically considered for a merit scholarship and will receive that merit scholarship in their admission letter. And that's just based on your application. So another incentive to put your best foot forward in the application and really display your merit for the program. Those scholarship range anywhere from about 10,000 up till about 45, which is roughly half of tuition. So just kind of a general statement, we don't offer full tuition merit scholarships. And so you will need to find funding to fund the rest of the program. We do also have on-campus student employment opportunities. It's a great way for you to make a little extra cash on campus, maybe help pay with your rent. I wouldn't say it's going to fund the program, but it's a nice way for students to earn some extra money on campus. You'll see our tuition fees and living expenses here on the bottom. Those are for this year. We won't have next year's until about March. But if you add those up, if you're an international student, that is kind of your package of funding of what you'd have to prove to come to the program. I'm sure there's questions around this. Please feel free to reach out to us individually about your specific case, and we'd be happy to talk more about what a financial aid package looks like for you. With that, Matt and I have done a lot of talking. We'd love to hear from you, questions you might have. So feel free to use the Q&A feature. Also, visit our website. We've been spending a lot of time on there. We're going to continue to ramp it up this year, but there's some great things on our website, and you can also learn about upcoming events as we post those there. Speaking of upcoming events, I'll be hosting a Q&A session on Thursday. So come join me. The Q&A sessions are probably my favorite thing to do. It's an opportunity for you to talk. So bring your cup of coffee, tea, whatever it is, and we're just going to have a nice chat as if we were in person, but virtually. So please come join me. I'd love to hear from you and learn more about your particular situation. On the bottom, you'll see gbs@yale.edu. Email us with any questions. Myself, Matt, our colleagues will help answer those. And with that, let's turn it over to Q&A and see what kind of questions we have right now.
So I know one question that always comes up and that I want to touch on before we get too many people asking. GMAT, GRE, what's the minimum? What's the, what's the GPA I need to have? And there is no minimum score that we are looking for. We are looking at every application holistically. We are obviously looking for students that we believe can handle the work and the workload at Yale. So that is something, we are going to take that into account. If your GPA isn't the greatest, hopefully your score's a little higher, they'll balance out. But we're also looking at what is your interest in the program? So just because you have, 100 out of 100, let's say, for, everything academically, if your reasoning for coming here is, I just want a job in the US and to add Yale's brand to my resume, that's not going to do it. We want to see, the pathway that you plan on taking or that you're looking to take here at Yale. We want to know, what is your interest? What are you hoping to do? How is this program going to benefit you and get you to that next stage of your career? And of course, that can be talked about in a variety of ways. So again, there is no minimum score. Definitely do your best with all that. It helps, obviously, as we're looking at merit scholarships and some of that stuff. But make sure that you don't sacrifice the rest of your application just for the test scores and GPA.
Great point, Matt. Maybe you want to take the first question, which is around the GRE. And someone's asking, so great that we have an M2M applicant here applying through UBC Sutter. You'll be completing 2 applications just at the same time following those UBC deadlines. They'd like to know if they still need to take the GRE.
They do still need to take the GRE. It is a requirement across the board. If you took the test in the past, we can certainly use that test score, but it is a requirement to take the GRE or GMAT or GMAT Focus. I don't know if that's still or if they just made that the GMAT now.
Good question. Another question that came through is, what are the different majors at Yale? This person's interested in private equity, for example. So there are no majors per se. It's not like an undergraduate study where you pick a major and that's on your transcript and that's what you focus on. The GBS program is just a program itself. And so while you can dive deep into private equity, for example, you're not majoring in that per se. That's kind of the beauty of the GBS program is you get to decide what you do. And so sure, when you're going to a future employer, you can show them your transcript and say, I focused on this area, or you can talk about that. But I just want to clarify that there's technically no majors. It's just the courses that you take.
And one thing to kind of go along with that, if you're interested in talking with a student, obviously our current batch of students or our next batch of students haven't arrived just yet. But on our website, you can find our admissions ambassadors, and many of them still are accessible and happy to connect with you, share a little bit more of their experience. I would highly recommend talking with them. I think some of the best applications we get are from people that they spoke with an admissions ambassador and kind of discussed, hey, what are the opportunities? What did you take advantage of? And learn more about the program in that way. Oftentimes we see people apply and they haven't done that extra bit of research. And then when it comes to the application, it falls a little bit short because they haven't spoken with someone, they haven't looked into the courses. So make sure that you take time to talk with those, great resources like alumni and soon to be current students, and make sure that you check out our website, as Kate mentioned, for curriculum, more events, all of that cool stuff.
Thanks, Matt. Someone had asked how this program maybe compares to an MBA. And I think this is a good question in terms of going back to why the GBS program. And I think it just is dependent on you and what you're looking for, right? There's a traditional MBA is great. We have an MBA program at Yale SOM, and that works for a lot of people. But it isn't necessarily the right path for everyone. And so the GBS program is a nice complement to a 1-year master in management program specifically. Or if you're at a 2-year master in management program, potentially, shortening that and utilizing the concurrent option where some credits can transfer back to your year one school. But I always look at it as, say you did a 1 year MIM and it just wasn't enough. It goes by so fast. Doing then a 2 year MBA on top of that gives, you're 3 years out. And so the option of being able to complement a MIM, GBS, you have 2 years, but sure, you did whatever you kind of wanted with that. You're going to be utilizing the core curriculum in your MIM. And so those core courses can kind of, I guess, mirror some of the core courses that an MBA does, but different degree programs, different traditional paths on what you want to do moving forward.
So, great question about uh, where students and where they're coming from, and basically asking, are there quotas from certain places? And no, there is no quota. I think if you look at our website, you're going to see a number of students coming from Asia, Europe, and then you may see a few more from North America, specifically maybe up in Canada. And that's because we work with a couple of partner schools in those areas. So oftentimes you can find students that specifically you're going to find quite a few from HKUST, HEC Paris, and UBC Sauder. And those are three of our bigger partner schools, but we've got a number of other ones that we work with. So you'll find a lot of students from there, but we have no quota on how many students are we taking from each school, or, we're taking, this many from this place. No, we're looking at students from all across the world. It doesn't matter, where they're coming from. And one other thing that I want to highlight with that, not just in terms of where in the world are you coming from, but also school-wise. More recently, the program opened up to students outside of the global network. And so while you may not see a ton of students from schools outside the global network, it's something that is continuously growing. And we're starting to see more students from the US and North America, South America, Europe. We're seeing students from outside the network continue to apply. And so that's something, don't be afraid to apply, even if you're from a school outside of the global network. We're looking for students from all across the world, all different schools. And if you think that you might be interested, but you're kind of wondering a little bit more, reach out to us. Again, we are happy to answer questions, talk with you, look over, even if it's not a master in management per se, schools have a lot of different ways of phrasing master in management, we've found. So definitely reach out and let us help you out.
Absolutely. We had another question about cost of attendance. And I know we went over the tuition slide, the cost of the program. It's definitely not lost upon us that that's a large sticker price for a lot of students on top of, another degree program. And so if that maybe price is deterring you, my best advice is to, you know, look into scholarships in your home country, look at scholarships elsewhere as well. Don't be too deterred. Apply, see what your scholarship with us can be, and then hopefully we can help bridge that gap that you have, or you can find other ways to bridge that gap. Uh, we really hope that you'll not necessarily be turned off, but rather, dive deeper into it and see how you can make this happen. And we'll do our best to make the GBS program possible for you too. But I do want to just draw attention to that because I think that's a very common question, is about cost, scholarships, and that's an important question because it's a large investment that you're making.
I think we explained the program pretty well,
I
though.
think so. No more questions, which is great. And I'm hopeful that some of you might attend, like I said, the Q&A with me on Thursday. You can ask any remaining questions you have, any specific questions. It's a great way to just pop on camera and introduce yourself to me. Well, I think Matt and I have explained everything. So we just want to thank you so much for joining us today, wherever you are in the world, early, late, midday. Thank you for your time. We know it's valuable. And you can rewatch this on YouTube if you'd like, or join us for other events we'll be hosting throughout the year. There's going to be some fun events, more information sessions, but we'll do another one on when's the right time to apply, an application tips webinar, more Q&As. We'll do an alumni panel, a current student panel once our students are on campus. So lots of events throughout the year for you to join us with. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Elena. What a great session.